Okay, welcome all to everybody to this irrigation engineering subject code 1615505, and this we are going to see about diversion networks under the concept waves. Okay, the contents of this lecture are: first one, waves, and under which we are going to see about diversion networks, its components, its functions, canal regulators, silt excluders, and silt ejectors. Okay, fine. Okay, what is a diversion network? Actually, the statement defines that the diversion networks are generally constructed for diverting the water from the reservoir towards the canal as to ensure a regulated continuous supply of silt-free water with a minimum head. Okay, I'm going to explain what is this definition. Okay, you consider a diversion network. Okay, actually the water, the reservoir water which is flowing through the reservoir continuously is actually diverted through this diversion networks to the canal, okay, towards the canal. Actually this water which is surplus amount of water from the dam which is being opened from the dam is continuously flowing, and this reservoir water is being diverted by using this diversion networks towards the canal by means of continuous supply without any silt, okay, without any silt and with a minimum head. Okay, it is not set at a maximum head, only at a minimum head, and with a minimum amount of velocity only the water flows. Okay, then what is the objective of diversion network? Okay, there are four important objectives in diversion networks. First one is to raise the water level at the head of canal. Okay, the statement explains that. Okay, first you are actually diverting the water through this diversion networks to the canal. Okay, actually the water level should be maintained at a certain amount. Okay, that only the first statement explains. Okay, and the second statement, to form a storage by constructing dikes on both the banks of river so that water availability is throughout the year. Okay, the construction of dikes, what is dikes means? Dikes are certain storage dams, okay, small dams. Okay, these are not very big dams. The dikes are a little bit small dams. They are constructed in order to store the water. Okay, it is the main reason for constructing a dike, so that the river water can be stored, okay, throughout the year. Then the third point, to control the entry of silt into the canal. Okay, if suppose water is being washed with the river bed. Okay, actually this what happens means it covers the river bed, and the silt also adds with the water, and it actually clogs the portion of the diversion network. So in order to prevent that, okay, and this it does not also prevent the diversion network to move the water, and it also prevents the canal to move the water. Okay, it actually reduces the speed of water or the velocity of water at which it's being flowing. So in order to prevent that, we have to control the entry of silt into the canal. Okay, so the diversion networks are being preferred. Okay, to control the fluctuation of water level in the river during different seasons. Okay, actually if you see summer season, the water will be very minimum water flow, because summer season there will be no rain. But in during rainy times there will be excess flood in some states in India, if you consider India. So that you have to like control the fluctuation of this water flow. Okay, so that diversion networks are being constructed. Okay, fine. Okay, now we are going to see about the selection of site for diversion networks. Okay, at the first point you may see at the site the river should be straight and narrow, which means that the river should be like straight and the without any like cuts. Okay, without any like zigzag manner, it should be like straight and narrow. Okay, then the second point, the river bank should be well defined. Okay, what does this means? That if suppose a river is flowing continuously means, and if during rainy times if there is excess flood means, it will actually cause the river bank to erode. Okay, so it should not happen. Okay, so that you should choose a site that it should be, the river bank should be well defined. Okay, then the third point, the valuable land should not be submerged when the weir or barrage is constructed. Okay, which means that the land which you are going to be constructing should not be submerged. Okay, when a weir or a barrage is constructed. Okay, suppose if you are constructing the barrage and you are allowing a test water to flow through the land means, if you notice that the land is submerging under the water means, it's a waste for the construction. Okay, so you must decide whether the elevations and slope are exactly good for the construction of our diversion network. Okay, okay, Then the fourth point, the site should be easily accessible by roads or railways. Actually, this is an important point. The site which you are constructing should be in such a way that the roadways and railways should be easily accessible, so that the water flow at that time will be like if you are constructing a railroad over it, means suppose you have constructed at a like worser position, means it may cause the railroad to be affected. Okay, during flood times the railroad will be entirely flooded. So you have to decide what type of site you are going to decide for your construction of roads. Okay, then the elevation of the site should be much higher than the area to be irrigated. Okay, you may understand this point. Actually, the elevation of the site should be higher. Okay, your construction of your dike or your diversion headwork should be very higher than the area to be irrigated. Okay, so that the flow of water will be done under gravity. Okay, so if you are constructing at a lower elevation, means you have to pump the water, so it's being a excessive cost. Okay, it consumes more amount of money too. So in order to prevent that, you should construct at a higher elevation, so that water will neatly flow under gravity and reach the irrigation lands. Okay, then the final point, the material for construction should be available very near to the site. Okay, you understand this point. Actually, the material for construction, okay, like the cement, bricks and steel, everything should be available in hand. Okay, or you should make a transportation facility, so that it may reach your construction site at every important time, so that you could construct it fast. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide you can see actually what a diversion network looks like and what are its components. Okay, in the top or the upstream side there is the reservoir, you can see in the picture, and the marginal embankment or dike, which is I said the small dam. Okay, where the water can be stored. Okay, it is a small dam where water can be stored. Okay, and a divide wall. Divide wall is nothing but the wall which separates two different the head regulators. Okay, that is the important work of this divide wall. And you can see the weir or barrage, which is at the center portion. Okay, through actually this weir or barrage consists of sluice gates or like gate like structures through which water will flow. Okay, and you can see the silt excluder which is behind this gates. Okay, actually the yeah, in this picture they have mentioned these covering sluices. No, these covering sluices are the sluice gates which are present in the weir portion, and behind which silt excluders are present. Silt excluders will be like some hollow like cuboid sections, cuboid or like rectangular sections, in which the water which is flowing from the reservoir is allowed to pass through, so that excessive silt which are present in that reservoir water will be filtered, and from where the sluice gates or these covering gates will actually send the silt free water to the downstream side. Okay, and you can see here the fish ladder. Fish ladder is actually nothing but the fishes which are present at the upstream side. Okay, upstream side are generally moving towards the downstream side. Okay, actually in order to make the movement possible, the fish ladders are being present. Okay, fine. Then the head regulators are nothing but the which are the regulators which are help in the opening and closing of this sluice gate and the canals. Okay, if you are going to divert your water to the canals, these head regulators actually act as a important structure over there, and these head regulators are nothing but our diversion headwork. Okay, understand that? Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide we are going to see about the components of the diversion networks. Okay, the first component is weir or barrage. Okay, and the second component is divide wall, and the third component is covering sluice or under sluice. The fourth component is fish ladder. The fifth component is canal head regulator. Sixth one is silt excluder. Seventh one is guide bank, and the final one is marginal embankment or dike. Okay, I am going to explain all these in the further coming slides. Okay. Okay, what is a weir? A weir is a structure which is constructed beneath the original dam, which is constructed at the upstream side. Okay, this weir actually is present at the middle portion of the upstream side and the downstream side. Okay, actually this separates the upstream and downstream sides, and the water which is being released from the dam which is present on the upstream side actually flows through the flows through the the weir or the barrage which is constructed at the intermediate portion, where the flow of water is being altered and the height or the elevation of the water is being altered, and it flows continuously towards the downstream side. Okay, it is the called as the weir, and it consists of various covering sluices or sluice gates. Okay, actually through these gates only the water which is being altered is being passed to the downstream side. Okay, and what is here in the definition, it mentions that when the bed level of canal is at higher than the river level, then the water cannot be diverted towards the canal. Okay, so what does the first point says means, when the bed level of the canal, okay, bed level means when the water which is flowing continuously in a canal is higher rate, which is in a higher height, so that than the river level, then the water cannot be diverted towards the canal. Okay, so in order to prevent that, okay, in order to prevent that, a weir is constructed through which the water is being diverted in such a way that it reduces the height or it equals the height with the river level. Okay, then so as to raise the water level, an obstruction is constructed which is called as the weir. That was I mentioning the earlier points. In weir, most of the water is obstructed by raising the crest, which means that the weirs are present at a certain elevation, okay, from the downstream side. Okay, when your water which is being released from the dam and it continuously passes and it reaches the weir portion, actually it plumps or it will just jumps over the crest. Okay, it jumps over the crest portion and then it reaches the downstream side. Okay, okay, so this crest is constructed at a certain elevation. Okay, so only the crest is being constructed in order to reduce the water. Okay, reduce the water height. Okay, then it may be constructed with masonry or concrete. Okay, okay, this is the diagram which shows a weir. Okay, you may see the left side, that is the upstream side, where the water is being flowing continuously, and where the excess water, when it reaches a height of h2, the water flows. Okay, water flows over the crest portion or the topmost portion and comes to the down portion or the downstream portion. Okay, this is the purpose of a weir. Okay, it actually alters the water flow. You can see the excess water is being minimized to a certain height so that it's flowing continuously without any obstruction. Okay, fine. Okay, in this picture you can clearly see what is a weir which looks like. Okay, you can see the river banks, you can see the weir which is changing the the velocity of the water, and it's also changing the height level of the water. You can clearly see, no? Okay. Okay, now we are going to see about barrages. Actually, barrages are structures which are constructed over the weir. Okay, you in the next picture I will show how it is being constructed, and in this slide I am going to explain that how and why it is being constructed. Okay, actually these weirs actually they tend to change the height and also the velocity of the flow of water. Okay, that is the purpose of weir, and the barrage which is constructed a little bit above the weir is actually done in order to raise the level of the weir. Okay, it does not alter anything. Okay, it is just constructed in order to construct a sluice gate arrangement inside the weir. Okay, and also it is constructed in order to raise the height of the weir. Okay, this is what the actual purpose of barrage. Okay, so only it is different from weir. Okay, there will be a question related to this, like what is the difference between a weir and a barrage. Okay, you note it carefully. Okay, you know what is a weir and you know what is a barrage. Okay, weirs are structures which are present at a certain elevation in order to change the height of the water which is flowing over it and also changing the velocity of flow. Okay, these are the concept of weir. And what is a barrage means? A barrage is a structure which is in such a way that it is constructed on the upstream on the top portion of the weir, and it also consists of sluice gates in it. Okay, so sluice gates are constructed in order to prevent the flow whenever there is an excess flow. Okay, in order to prevent that, and we allow to alter the flow correspondingly so that water will flow silt free. Okay, this is the actual reason why barrage is being constructed. Okay. Okay, in this diagram you can see what is a barrage. Okay, you can see clearly what is a weir. The weir is the downstream part. Okay, you can see this trapezoidal shape which is the weir, and above which there is a structure which is constructed like a wall. Okay, but it's not a wall which will have resembles like a wall, but it has various openings, and in that openings there will be shutters or gates. These are called as the sluice gates or shutter gates, through which the water will be passed at certain heights. Okay, this is the procedure for the construction of a barrage, and this is a barrage. Okay, fine. Okay, in this diagram you can clearly see the barrage. Okay, you can see like the weir portion is there, and above which the wall like structures are being constructed, and like inside this there will be like gates are present, so that the water will be altered through it whenever excess water flow is there. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide we are going to see about the divide walls. Okay, the divide wall is a long wall which is constructed at right angles. Okay, right angles to the weir or a barrage, maybe in a stone masonry or cement concrete. Okay, in the next slide I will show what a divide wall looks like. On the upstream side, the wall is extended up to canal cover, and on the downstream side it is extended up to launching apron. Okay, the functions of the divide wall are to form still water pocket at the canal head, so that the silt can be settled down later, can be cleaned scouring sluice time to time. Okay, this point explains that whenever you are constructing this type of divide wall, it actually helps in removing the silt. Okay, and the silt which is being settled down at this divide wall can be cleaned by scouring sluices. Okay, it controls the eddy current or cross current in front of canal head. Okay. Okay, then the third point, it provides straight approach in front of canal head, and it resists the overturning effect of the weir or barrage caused by the pressure of water. Okay, uh, actually, the last 3 points explain what you know. The second point actually explains that the eddy current. Eddy current is not like a current. Okay, it's like a force which is being generated whenever the water flows in an excess velocity. Okay, in front of the canal head. Okay, so it controls that. Okay, and the third point, provides straight approach in front of canal head, which means that it provides like the water will flow in a straight manner without any like diversions. Okay, and it actually in front of the canal head. Okay, then the third point is it resists the overturning effect. I have told you about what is the overturning effect causes, uh, and which it causes to fail the dam, and the same thing it will happen to the weir or a barrage due to the pressure of water. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide you can see the divide wall. Okay, this the I have marked in the slide. No, this is the divide wall. Actually, this is divide wall, and this wall separates each and every gates. Okay, and it also prevents the silt. Okay, and actually the silt which is present at the back or the upstream side is being covered by the scouring sluices which are present in the gate like formation in the weirs. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide we are going to look about the scouring sluices or under sluices. Actually, the scouring sluices are the gates or shutters which are provided at the weir or a barrage. Okay, these openings are provided with adjustable gates, as I mentioned. They are shutters or gates, no? They are provided with openings actually. Then normally gates are kept closed at this so that the silt get deposited at the upstream portion itself. Okay, it is not allowed to go to the downstream portion, and when silt deposition become appreciable, the gates are open and it is agitated. Agitated means it is being added with some reagents. Okay, the muddy water flows towards the downstream side. Okay, the water which is containing the silt on the upstream side is stopped near the gates, and actually this agitation happens. Agitation means adding some reagents, and it continuously mixing it at a higher rate. Okay, this happens in the sluices, and the water which is mixed up with this agents and this huge agitation process, it is actually allowed to pass to the downstream side. Okay, the gates are then closed, but at the period of flood the gates are open. Okay, fine. Okay, in this picture you can see what are these covering sluices and where they are present. Actually, here, actually in the behind portion of the divide walls, these are these covering sluices. Okay, and here in this, actually the water is flowing here. Actually, the gates will be present at this portion. I have marked a square-like structure. No, that is where the gates will be present, and these covers, which are the silt which are present behind the divide wall, will actually go through this portion. Okay, through this portion, and they will be like aerated, and they will be agitated at that point, and the water will be free to flow to the downstream side. Okay. Okay, we are going to see about this fish ladder. Okay, the fish ladder is provided just by the side of the divide wall for the free movement of fishes. Actually, if you see the fishes during their time of breeding, they will move from their upstream side to the downstream side for laying their eggs. Okay, they generally do for every season at that time. Okay, actually, when they move, actually they will die because of the excess flow of water. Okay, so in order to prevent that, certain separate pathway for the movement of fish is given. Okay. So through this pathway, they will move from upstream side to the downstream side at a little bit slow velocity. Okay. So this fish ladders are generally provided for the growth of fishes. Okay. Fine. So in the definition, you can see the fish ladder is provided just by side of the divide wall for the free movement of fishes. The tendency of fish movement from upstream to downstream in winders from downstream to upstream in monsoons. Okay, you can see this clearly during climate changes. Actually, they move from downstream to upstream in monsoon time. Okay, and in summer seasons they will move in the upstream to downstream. Okay, this movement is essential for survival. So fish ladder is actually provided. Okay, fine. Okay, the image in this slide shows you the fish ladder and how it looks like. You can see this is the weir or barrage, which is on the right side. Okay, this is the weir or barrage, and you can see a certain left side portion which is being attached or being constructed nearby it, and through which the fish movement will be across this side. Okay, actually the stepping like stones will be like steps, you can see in the left side. These are the fish ladders. Okay, this is the fish ladder. Fine. Okay, now we are going to see about the canal head regulator. A canal head regulator is a structure which is constructed at the head of the canal. Okay, actually the canal is supposed to go in a like a steep slope. Okay, so the upstream portion or the up portion or the top portion, the canal head regulator is constructed to regulate the flow of the water. Okay, this is the use of canal head regulator. It consists of more number of piers or like wall like structures having no number of having a number of tires on which the adjustable gates or shutters are placed. Okay, the gates are operated from top by suitable mechanical device. Actually, the shutters, we cannot open the shutters manually. Okay, it is difficult, and the weight of a shutter weighs like around like 150 kgs to like 200 kgs. Okay, and even more. I'm saying for a small type of lakes or barrages, but in case of higher dams like gravity dam, earthen dams, they have like greater shutters. Okay, so their weight will be like more than like 500 kgs or something. So you cannot move that easily by manually. You should have some mechanical application which is present on this crosshead, this canal head regulators, by which you will move in a swirling format. That means that you will have a tap like big tap like format on the top portion of the canal head regulator in that room, and you will go and you will just pull around it. Okay, you will just pull around it so that the shutter will open automatically under hydraulic pipes which are attached with this shutters. Okay, so that the shutters will open and the water will flow through. Okay, so the piers which are constructed on one side for the support of roadways. Actually, these piers are constructed in order to support the roadways which is used to connect from one side of the pier, like one side of the weir to the another side of the weir. Okay, fine. Okay, in this picture, you can see a hut-like formation. Okay, you can see this on the left. Okay, this is the canal head regulator actually. Okay, here where the mechanical system will be present, and the openings here you can see the wall openings, no, divide wall openings, no. Here there are the sluice gates. Okay, the sluice gates are being opened at this picture. Actually during the closing time, there will be a certain type of valve. Okay, like a big valve, you have to turn over it. Okay, in order to close the valve. Okay, so this actually this procedure is being maintained in the canal head regulator. Okay, okay, we are going to see about the silt extruder. Okay, silt extruder is a mechanism which is available in this weir or a barrage, which excludes the sedimentation which occurs in the in the gates of the silt, like the sluice gates or nearby that, or behind the divide walls. This silt excluder is generally provided in order to prevent the formation of silt from clogging the sluice gates or clogging the canals. Okay, it consists of a series of tunnels. Okay, through which the the river water or the reservoir water which is allowed to flow, and where the silt is being separated from this flow to the divide wall. Okay, fine. The suspended heavy silt carried by the water enters the silt extruder tunnels and pass out through the scouring sluices. Okay, fine. Okay, this picture actually shows you the sluice gates. No, these are the sluice gates. I will mark you. These are the sluice gates. The circled ones are sluice gates, and this like hollow like formations. No, these are the silt excluders. Okay, where the water from the upstream. Here you can see the upstream flow. Okay, the water flow. Actually, this enters this silt excluder where the excess of silt are being captured behind this divide wall. You can see the divide wall. Okay, this is the divide wall. And this is your covering sluice. Okay, through this underneath portion only the water from the upstream side will pass, and the excess of silt will be like stopped there, and it is being separated over there, and it will be like aerated in and agitated at that area with some reagents, and it will be allowed to flow to the downstream side. Okay. Okay, in this slide we are going to see about the guide bank. Actually, a guide bank is an embankment. Okay, remember that. Actually, it has two curves on the upstream side and also on the downstream side. Okay, the upstream curved head extends up to 1.5 L. L means length, which is the distance between abutments. Okay, and downstream is the curved head extends up to 0.25 length from center line of the barrage. Okay, you know what is the barrage. I have explained in the previous slide what is a barrage, and across its straight center line the guide bank will be available. Okay, the guide bank serves for the following purposes. First one is it protects the barrage from the effect of scouring. You know what is scouring? The silt deposition. Okay, and from the erosion. Okay, it provides a straight approach towards the barrage. Okay, it controls the tendency of changing the course of the river. It controls the velocity of flow near the structure. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the exact picture which represents a guide bank. Okay, you can see the water which is flowing through the weir. Okay, there are this curved structures. Okay, you can see this curved structures. No, these curved structures are the guide banks. Okay, these allow to change the flow of water and the velocity of water. You can see these curves, they will generally make the water flow to change their velocity. These curves. Okay, I have marked in the like in the PPT. No, these are the curves which reduce the velocity of flow of water, and through the divide wall. Okay, this is the divide wall, center line. It will pass like that. On the upstream side the length will be 1.5 L, and the low in the downstream side it will be 0.25 L. Okay, Fine. Okay, we are going to see about dike or marginal embankment. I have explained you before what is a dike. A dike is a small low dam which is present in order to store the water, and whenever there is a need it will be allowed to flow to the downstream side. Okay, this is the purpose of a dike. Okay, these dikes are constructed parallel to the river bank. Okay, like it will be very parallel to the river bank on both sides, that is on the upstream and downstream sides. Okay, the top width is generally between 3 meter to 4 meter, and their side slope will be between 1:1 and 2:2. Okay, fine. Okay, this picture shows you the dike. These are like the low dams, and you can see these are like small dams which are up to only height of 3 to 4 meters. Okay, and you can see it is like parallel to the river flow. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide you are going to see about the purposes of a dike. Okay, it retains the flood water on storage water within a specified section. Okay, it actually stores, as I mentioned in the previous slide, it protects the towns and villages from devastating during floods. Okay, if the water which is being excessively released from the high dams are allowed to flow continuously, and they are like used to be going to devastate the village, it is actually prevented by this provision of dikes. Okay, these prevent the floods from attacking the villages. Okay, this is a good example for a dike. Okay, it protects valuable agricultural lands too from submerging of the land due to excessive floods. Okay,